All right, y'all, I'm gonna get right to it. My biggest mistake in trucking this far is leasing. I'm gonna get right into it for y'all, right? And here's the reason why. And when I mention leasing, I don't mean leasing any trucks. I don't lease my trucks. I actually own my trucks, right? My wife and I own 5 trucks, 3 trailers. So here's the biggest mistake that we've made so far. This is one of the biggest mistakes. I think it may be the biggest mistake. And I say leasing because we have a couple of leases out on the trucks that we own. And we have a lease with a family member and a close friend of ours. And here's the thing when these guys get to leasing, when they get into leasing. One of the main mistakes we made when we did the contracts on leasing our trucks is not putting in some type of protection for guys that don't work right. And we didn't know this starting out, right? This thing was new to us. One of the things that we didn't put in is making sure that these guys pay X amount of dollars per week, even, well, mostly for when they don't work right. Because when we signed these leases, right, and we gave these leases out, all the leases went smoothly from the start. They started off smooth. But after a while, once months got in, the guys, they pick and choose when they want to work now. So imagine this, right? You're giving guys this owner-operator. You're making them owner-operators, right? You put them in business for themselves so they can make a lot more money than they normally make, right? And these guys are used to making a certain amount of money. Now, I put it this way. Say, for instance, a guy makes $1,000 or maybe $1,500. We'll use $1,500 a week, right? Driving. And those amounts vary, person to person, right? Or company to company. But we're going to use $1,500 as an example. So these guys make $1,500 a week. That means they make around $6,000 a month. You make that guy an owner-operator. Now this guy goes from making $6,000 a month or $1,500 a week. Now they make that $6,000 every week versus the month, right? So these guys are making anywhere $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a week. And this is something you should know, right? We only work regionally, right? We go within the 300-mile radius of where we work. We are the East St. Louis, Illinois, right? So we're out of the St. Louis hub. So we only go 300 miles max, a radius outside of St. Louis. So the guys are home every day, and check it out. 300 miles is maximum, so we don't even run 300 miles on a daily basis, right? We do a lot of local work as well. So the guys are home every day, and they don't work weekends, right? So we do our reset on the weekends. So in that radius, these guys make $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a week as owner operators, right? Now, if you run longer distances, you know that you'll make more money, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a week or more, right? So, and I won't get into that because I'm just telling about how we run, right? So these guys can make this $5,000 to $7,000 a week, as long as they work 5 days a week, right? And this is more money a week than these guys are accustomed to making, right? They're used to making this money a month, right? So, and this is something we didn't consider, right? Once we didn't even know this, right? It's new for us, right? So we didn't even consider that. We didn't even think of this. A lot of these guys, you would think that if you can make $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a week, that's your motivation to keep going. But it's proven to be not true, right? With some of the guys, right? These guys will get out here. They're used to living off that $1,500 a week, so they make this $1,500 in a few days, right? So they'll stop working on you, and that's what we've came across, right? And one of our guys is doing good as far as working a lot, but there are other things that are issues, right? So these guys don't really think about what you need out of your lease or out of your truck once you lease to them, right? So most of these guys think about what they want, right? They never consider what you want and what you need from your truck. Because you got to think, the money that they are making is money that you are giving up for them to make, right? Now, we've worked out percentages that we get. So we decide to put people in business, right? We take a percentage off the truck. So it's our truck, it's our authority. My wife she dispatches all the trucks, right? So we do everything, and the money come through us, and we pay out on Fridays, right? So we still control everything. And what these guys don't really realize when they get these leases, they like to go and say that they're owner operators or I got a truck. But what they don't realize is you really work for us still. You're just making more money than an average driver will work. We know we'll make. And they never even consider that. They don't think about it in those terms. You really still work for somebody because I expect a certain income off my truck still. So it's different from leasing from a dealership, right? If you were to go to a dealership, buy a truck, or lease a truck or whatever, that dealership just wants you to pay that truck note. As long as you pay that truck note over the terms that they gave you and however many years it worked out is all they care about. But for me, you have to pay all that, plus you have to give me my percentage because I still want to make some money off my truck. These guys that get out here to get the leases don't consider that, right? All they think about is what they want from that truck. So a lot of these guys that get out here and kill your truck, right? They don't maximize the truck, and you lose a lot of money if you don't have these things in place to protect you for when these guys don't work, right? So you get out here, your truck, you're used to your truck making whatever X amount of dollars, whatever it make a week, but you're used to it working 5 days a week at least, right? So the guys get out here, make the money that they're used to making in a couple of days, and they'll take the rest of the week off, right? Some of the guys will take weeks off or months off, right? And that truck is just sitting because once you put them in business, you don't have forced dispatch. They really work for themselves, right? And so that's why you have to put the protection in the contracts. The contracts they have to be written in a way that you're always protected. And like I say, this is something we didn't consider. For one, it's family and friends, right? You see how they work. They're out here, they working every day. So you think they're going to continue that, and you think the money will be the motivation to keep going, but it's not. It's not really what it is all the time, right? And that's something that you guys have to consider, right? So you got a guy that's out here making, $15,000 to $20,000 a week. Some of these guys get a breakdown and can't fix the truck right. They can't repair that truck. And it's because, they get out here and this big money being made in trucking, but you got big spenders out here as well, right? A lot of these guys spend every dime that they get, right? Their lifestyle changed. They start making more money. They start spending more money, and they just don't get the point that you have to save money, right? These trucks, it costs a lot. You can make a lot, but it costs a lot to keep them operational, right? You're always doing oil changes and preventive maintenance. You should be on your trucks, but a lot of these guys don't do it, right? They get out here, they will spend every dime they get. And when it's time for that breakdown, I see some of my trucks. I had a guy pull up on me with an air leak, right? I can hear the air leaking across the parking lot when we pulled up to the yard, right? And he get out talking to me normal. And I'm like, dude, what's up with this air leak? You get what I'm saying? It's like you've driven, you just came from out of town, right? In the radius that we get. So you had to be driving that truck. You have to hear that air coming out. If I can hear it across the parking lot when you pull up, you heard it while you was driving down the road. You know what I'm saying? But that's just one of the things that are some of the things that these guys do when they get out here. They never consider that truck. They don't take care of the truck. They just run it, and they run it how they want to run it and get what they want out of it. So this has to be my biggest mistake here right now is giving these leases to the guys. And it's really my fault, my fault, because my wife and I, the second lease that we gave to my buddy, we knew that he wasn't ready when we did the lease, right? When we were talking to him and all that, we were kind of wanting more for him than he really was wanting for himself. Now, don't get me wrong, he wanted this lease and all that, but he wasn't really prepared for it. We saw a few signs coming in, and we were kind of hoping, that it changed, but it didn't. It really didn't. It changed, but it kind of changed for the worse, right? So we're at the point now where we're thinking about pulling the lease. Like I said, it's a good friend of ours and all that, but it's business, right? Business is getting really bad right now, and we may be pulling this lease. But anyway, thumbs up, your boy. I got a lot coming out for y'all, on here. I got a lot of insight on this trucking thing. We've been trucking 11 years now, and I'm gonna put a lot out on here. Peace.